Sergey Brin is not a superhero. Escaping oppression, born to flee. Sergey Brin was born in 1973, in Moscow, in the Soviet Union. To the world, it looked like a normal place. But for his family, for Jewish families, it was a place of fear, limits, and quiet oppression. Sergey's father, Mikhail Brin, was a brilliant mathematician. His mother, Eugenia, was a researcher in space engineering. Both were highly educated. Both were rejected from top schools and jobs because of one thing: they were Jewish. At the time, Soviet Jews were denied opportunity. They couldn't attend certain universities. They were labeled enemies for applying abroad. They faced daily discrimination, subtle and systemic. Sergey grew up in this reality. A child in a family that was proud, brilliant, but stuck. His father dreamed of freedom. Of a place where his son could study what he wanted. Say what he believed. Live without fear. That dream came with a price. When Sergey was 6, the Brin family applied to emigrate. The government called them traitors. They lost their jobs. Their friends turned away. They were monitored. Harassed. It took years of waiting and paperwork. But in 1979, they finally made it out. The Brins left the Soviet Union with no money, no job offers, and no guarantees. Just one suitcase per person. And a hope that America would give them a second chance. Sergey arrived in the United States as a 6-year-old refugee. He didn't speak English. He didn't understand the culture. He didn't know what the future held. But he knew one thing. His family had risked everything so he could be free. That truth shaped him forever. A new country. A new chance. When Sergey Brin arrived in the United States, he was 6 years old. He didn't speak the language. He didn't understand the culture. He didn't fit in. At school in Maryland, he was just the quiet kid with an accent. The immigrant. The outsider. But it didn't stay that way for long. Sergey was a fast learner. He absorbed English quickly. He read constantly. He loved math, puzzles, and problems no one else wanted to solve. His father, now a math professor at the University of Maryland, encouraged his curiosity. They worked on logic games together. His mother, now an engineer at NASA, taught him discipline and resilience. Sergey had inherited their intellect and their grit. By the time he was a teenager, he was building computer programs for fun. He spent hours on early systems, exploring how they worked. He wasn't interested in flashy tech. He wanted to know how things functioned at the deepest level. He was quiet, thoughtful, and deeply independent. While others chased popularity, Sergey chased truth. His mind was always searching. For patterns. For meaning. For systems beneath the surface. And even as a young boy, he understood something many adults didn't. Freedom isn't just a place. It's the ability to think without fear. To ask big questions. To follow your ideas wherever they lead. That belief would guide him for the rest of his life. Finding his passion in data and truth. Sergey Brin didn't chase business. He didn't dream of being a CEO. He dreamed of understanding complexity. He enrolled at the University of Maryland, where he studied mathematics and computer science. He graduated with honors. But he wasn't done. He wanted more than answers. He wanted insight. So he applied to Stanford to pursue a PhD. At Stanford, Sergey found his element. He was surrounded by people who loved ideas as much as he did. People who challenged assumptions. Who valued thinking deeply, not just moving fast. It was there that he discovered his passion, organizing information. Not just collecting data, but understanding it. Finding relevance in noise. Making knowledge useful. Sergey became obsessed with the structure of the web. He saw the internet not as pages, but as a giant graph of connections. Who links to what? Which pages are trusted? What patterns reveal meaning? He started working on a system that could analyze those connections. Not just keywords, but relationships. Then he met Larry Page. At first, they clashed. Both were brilliant. Both opinionated. Both driven. But slowly, they realized something. They weren't just working on the same problem. They were solving it from opposite angles. Together, they started building a search engine. Not one that guessed, but one that ranked based on trust, structure, and truth. They called it BackRub. It ran on Stanford's servers. It took over campus traffic. And it worked. Professors took notice. Investors were curious. And Sergey realized this wasn't just a research project. It could be something bigger. Building Google, a garage, a dream, and a lot of code. In 1998, Sergey Brin and Larry Page dropped out of their PhD programs at Stanford. Not because they failed, but because their project was working too well. BackRub had become something bigger. Faster. More accurate. More useful than anything the internet had seen. They renamed it Google. A play on the number Google, 1 followed by 100 zeros. It symbolized their mission: organize the world's information. They set up office in a rented garage in Menlo Park. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't comfortable. But it was enough. They borrowed money from professors, family, and friends. $100,000 here. $50,000 there. They hired their first employees. And started coding every day, every night. Sergey wasn't the CEO. He was the builder. The system's mind. He handled technical infrastructure, scaling, and security. He wasn't loud. But he was precise. He pushed for elegance in design and truth in data. The early Google homepage was bare. A logo. A box. A button. No ads. No distractions. Just speed and clarity. People loved it. They didn't need instructions. Google worked. It knew what you meant. It got better with every search. By the end of 1999, Google had processed over 500,000 searches per day. By 2000, it was handling over 100 million. And all of it, every search, every ranking, every result, was powered by the belief that information should be open, accessible, and accurate. Sergey wasn't chasing a billion-dollar company. He was chasing a cleaner internet. A smarter web. A way to help people find what truly mattered. And that simple idea, built in a garage, would soon reshape the world. Staying ethical, staying smart. As Google exploded in popularity, pressure followed. Investors wanted faster growth. Advertisers wanted more access. Executives from other companies warned them. You'll have to compromise eventually. But Sergey Brin didn't believe that. From the beginning, he had insisted on a simple principle. Don't be evil. It wasn't a slogan. It was a shield. A reminder that even with power, you can choose integrity. Even with billions at stake, you can still protect the user. While Larry Page focused on innovation and growth, Sergey focused on values. He resisted invasive advertising. He pushed for transparency in data collection. He stood firm against government pressure to censor search results even when it meant pulling out of certain countries. He helped create the company's internal ethics board. He questioned deals. He warned against shortcuts. Google's culture reflected him. Open offices. Flat hierarchy. 20% time for passion projects. A place where engineers led and ideas mattered more than titles. Sergey believed that smart people work better when they're trusted, not micromanaged. He also believed that companies can grow without losing their soul. As Google expanded, launching Gmail, Maps, News, and more, it stayed fast, creative, and deeply human. Because Sergey Brin was watching. Quietly. Carefully. Holding the line. He once said, "We want to make the world a better place, not just for shareholders, but for users." That mindset wasn't popular on Wall Street. But it earned Google something money couldn't buy. Trust. Innovation never sleeps. For Sergey Brin, search was just the beginning. He didn't want Google to be the best search engine. He wanted it to be the smartest company in the world. That meant pushing into new frontiers, not slowly, but relentlessly. Under his leadership and influence, Google launched Gmail, with more storage and smarter filters than anyone imagined. Google Maps, turning geography into something interactive. Google Translate, breaking language barriers using AI. Chrome, a browser built for speed and simplicity. And Sergey wasn't just observing. He was inside the labs. Meeting with engineers. Reviewing algorithms. Testing early prototypes. His curiosity never stopped. He was fascinated by moonshots, ideas that sounded crazy but had the potential to change everything. He helped launch Google X, the company's secret lab for radical innovation. There, teams worked on self-driving cars, internet balloons, augmented reality glasses, smart contact lenses, renewable energy projects. Sergey didn't lead with spreadsheets. He led with questions. What problem are we solving? What's the simplest possible solution? Does this help humanity? He believed technology wasn't just about convenience, it was about meaning. In 2015, Google reorganized into a new structure, Alphabet. Google became one company. The rest, health, biotech, AI, robotics, became sister companies. Sergey stepped into the role of Alphabet president. Less public. More visionary. He funded research into longevity. Explored cures for rare diseases. Backed deep learning startups before AI became mainstream. He believed the future should be built, not waited for. And he was willing to bet billions on it. Wealth, purpose, and staying low profile. By the late 2010s, Sergey Brin was one of the richest people on Earth. He had more than $100 billion. He could buy anything. Command attention anywhere. But he didn't want it. Unlike other tech billionaires, Sergey avoided the spotlight. He rarely gave interviews. He skipped red carpets. He didn't post about his wealth. He didn't brag. He let his work speak. While others built personal brands, Sergey built impact behind the scenes. He created the Brin-Wojcicki Foundation, focusing on education, global health, and Parkinson's disease research. He donated millions to medical science, including research into a condition that affected his own family. He invested in alternative energy, airships, and space exploration. Not because they were trendy, but because he believed in long-term change. His personal life was quiet, even reserved. He practiced mindfulness. Took long bike rides. Spent time with his children. And even as a billionaire, he maintained simple routines. He was often seen in casual clothes. Riding a scooter. Sitting with engineers. Listening more than speaking. He once said, "I wanted to work on something that was unbounded, and that would make a difference to a lot of people." That's exactly what he did. And he didn't need applause to know it mattered. How you can think like Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin didn't plan to become a billionaire. He didn't dream of founding a trillion-dollar company. He just wanted to understand the world and help people find what they needed. And that mindset changed everything. You don't need to be born in the right country. Or have perfect English. Or go to the top schools. You need to think like this. 1. Let curiosity be your compass. Sergey didn't chase money. He chased questions. How does information connect? Why is truth hard to find? How can we make it easier? Ask better questions, and you'll build better things. 2. Start with purpose, not hype. He never built Google to be a brand. He built it to solve a problem. When your purpose is real, people follow. When your mission is clear, ideas grow. Build for meaning, not attention. 3. Stay humble, even when you win. Sergey avoided fame. He didn't seek followers. He stayed focused on the work. Humility isn't weakness. It's power without noise. When you lead quietly, you last longer. 4. Build ethically. Scale responsibly. He insisted that Google serve users, not advertisers. He fought for transparency and choice. Tech has power. Use it wisely. Don't cut corners. Don't lose your soul to grow faster. 5. Be global in mind and heart. Sergey's story started with exile. But it gave him perspective. He thought beyond borders. Built tools for every language. Invested in solving global problems. Your impact grows when your vision expands. Final thought. Sergey Brin came from a place where truth was censored. Where opportunity was denied. Where questions were dangerous. He used that pain to fuel purpose. That fear to build freedom. That displacement to design access. And you can too. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be first. You just need to be clear in your values, your thinking, and your code. The rest will follow. And Sergey Brin is not a superhero.